One of the most anticipated and critically acclaimed seasons of television we'll get this year has just finished. That's right, I'm talking about HBO's The Rehearsal. Season 2 of Nathan Fielder's hit comedy series has just finished, and I think many will disagree when I say it just might be a masterpiece. This is easily the most ambitious Nathan Fielder has been, and it just works so well. His goal of solving communication in cockpits to stop plane crashes, specifically getting co-pilots to not be afraid to speak up to their captains. The opening scene of the season, showing a montage of recreations of plane crashes, was so well made and kind of scary in like an eerie kind of way. What the season managed to blossom into is one of the most unpredictable and best seasons in television history. Every episode, especially the first three, just kept shocking me with what he was able to come up with. Went from ruining a relationship, creating a fake reality show, calling Paramount Plus Nazis, and then he pretends to be Sully, which I'll talk more about later. Even the next two episodes after that might not have topped the Sully one, but the Einstein scene in the Kiss Me episode is the funniest scene of the show. We found Nathan just could barely keep himself together. He was actually starting to break character a little. This is also the cringiest episode of the show. One of the cringiest things I've ever seen. The Washington episode might be the weakest episode of the season, but it's still great and sets up the finale very well, especially with the whole autism thing. The structure of the season is really interesting to me because without thinking about it too much, every episode easily is able to stand on its own, but episode by episode, the story, themes, and running gags really come together like a beautiful mosaic art piece, if that makes sense and isn't too dickhead sounding. I do also want to highlight the two best episodes of the season, first being Pilot's Code, aka the Sully episode. First half of the episode is pretty funny, but nothing compared to the second half. The instant Nathan walked through that door with that diaper on into a large room, I swear to God, man, I absolutely lost it. And then combine that with him getting waterboarded with the milk, I swear to God, man, funniest shit I've ever seen. And then you combine that as well with his dad's spider legs masturbating on plane, and you get one of the funniest episodes in TV history. But Nathan is able to combine this with the heart of the season, the exploration of mental health. And it's really starting to become clear in this episode. It gets explored through Sully's life. It's really interesting to learn about and think about what pilots can be going through, and they're just not able to properly express themselves and talk about it because it could lead to them losing their jobs. When we finally get to the big moment of the episode, what caused Sully to ask his co-pilot if he had any ideas? The 17 seconds of silence, which coincidentally lines up with the chorus to Sully's favorite song, Bring Me to Life. This whole episode leads up to this as this punchline, and it's one of the best moments of all time. I lost it again. It was hilarious. Very funny episode, and really the key themes of the season are coming together really strongly in this episode. The finale, however, is the best episode of the season. My Control's epic tale of hero pilot Nathan Fielder saving 150 lives in the miracle over the Mojave. It might not be the funniest episode of the season, but it is the most impactful. Nathan's goal of flying the 737 was probably the main reason he made the season. The episode quickly starts with us being told what he would do, and the build up to it was incredible. I loved seeing Nathan learning how to be a pilot, even if it took him 7 months. He was one of the slowest people to learn how to get his license. And he still never gave up, and he managed to do it. It's really meaningful to me for some reason, not really sure why. And while it is one of the funniest episodes of the show, there are a couple moments I would like to highlight. Nathan practicing telling people how good he is at landing was so funny to me. Also, the scene of him trying to find a plane which he can fly, and the guy is showing him and it's got the nest in it and the buttons are falling off, and he's still telling him top quality shit, this plane, I tell you. The flying of the 737, obviously the most memorable part of the episode, and it is so well made and edited so well to give it some actual tension. The moment it landed was such a relief. Following this with the Wings of Voice payoff singing Bring Me to Life was a funny but powerful moment. The scenes discussing mental health and how the pilots can lose their jobs over it was really interesting and kind of shocking. The scene where he deletes the message from the doctor and then zooms into his eyes, calling back to the autism test from the previous episode, just absolute genius stuff. Then we get to the final scene of the episode, what Nathan has been up to since the filming the show, co-piloting 737s. We get the final line of the season. No one's allowed in the cockpit if there's anything wrong with them. So if you're here, you must be fine. Wow. Wow. Absolute cinema. I mean, if that doesn't sum up the whole season, I don't know what will. Such an impactful and powerful line which can be interpreted
I started to notice a disturbing
in so many different ways.
Ending
the season like this, absolutely genius. If you think the season was just about getting pilots to speak up, then I don't think you watched the same show I did. It is a powerful exploration of mental health hiding behind this hilarious comedy series. At its core, The Rehearsal is about trying to live a perfect life and avoid living through these awkward moments in conversation, like being too afraid to ask Nazis why they took down the episode of your television series. This is an amazing season on so many levels, 10 out of 10. Well, that's about it, guys. Rehearsal, HBO's biggest show of the year, and I did not... Oh, what's that? Last of Us? That was HBO's biggest show? Well, guess I can talk about that as well. Before that though, please like and subscribe if you've been enjoying the video so far. Last of Us Season 2 has been the most controversial show of the year. Many people are calling it awful, worst season of television. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I wouldn't really call it good, but I wouldn't really call it that bad either. Just very okay and mediocre season. Starting with the positives, Pedro fucking Pascal. Absolutely incredible in the small amount of episodes he's in. The penultimate episode in particular, he is amazing. In the scenes showing his relationship with Ellie, the father-daughter dynamic relationship, just done so well. The scene where he confesses what happened in Seattle, I think it was, and was finally so emotionally well acted. Pedro is an amazing actor, and he absolutely kills it in this season. The flashback episode as a whole was the best episode of the season. Very well written, very well acted. I loved how they put all the flashbacks together to show the growing relationship between Joel and Ellie and the fallout between them. The scene with Eugene was very good. As a whole, I loved how simple the episode was, letting the writing and acting really shine. Great episode. The second episode of the season was also very good. The battle scenes were intense and very well directed. The overall pacing and tension in the episode is nerve-wracking. Joel's death was handled very well in my opinion. Very intense. It was a brutal death that I was really dreading the lead up to. The directing of the episode was fantastic. It feels like they put all their effort into making this episode hit so well that they just barely put any effort into the rest of it, minus the flashback episode. And all the following episodes just felt like a mess. I'll get to the negatives in a bit. I just will highlight some more positives quickly before I get there. Cinematography-wise, it looks great. Production design very good. Makeup and all the little things and details you want to really think about, done very well in the show. Isabella Merced, probably even pronounced that wrong, as Dina was great. I loved her character and her performance. Gabrielle Luna was pretty solid. Caitlin Dever was great, and I am very excited to see what she's able to do next season. But unfortunately, all these great things they've done just do not matter because the writing of the season was just not very good. The games are so well written, and somehow they managed to take these very well written stories and just put barely any effort into creating it. Neil Druckmann, he wrote the games, he should know how to tell the story, but it seems like he barely even understood it. The most obvious example being Ellie's character. Ellie is the most controversial part of the show, and much of that hate is going towards Bella Ramsey, who, in my opinion, is doing a pretty good job, considering the awful writing she is given. They have absolutely no depth to her character. She is somehow completely different than her character in the games. In the show, she still feels like she's a kid, like she was in the first season. She is constantly making jokes, being immature, and just being overall cringe. Her character in the game is so much darker and more brutal. She really feels like she is driven by revenge, her hate for Abby, and wanting justice. And you never get this feeling in the show. Like, this revenge has overwhelmed her in the games, but in the show, she just still feels like she's an immature idiot. I thought this would have changed after the hospital scene in which she beats Nora to death. This is definitely something dark of her, but it's so rushed that it feels like it has no impact. The big aquarium scene in the finale is just so nothing. She just accidentally kills them, and it's just so dumb. She just shoots them by accident, and it kills both of them. It's so rushed, it's quick, and it's just over like that. In the game, it's a proper fight scene where Ellie brutally stabs the girl in the neck. It's a dark and brutal scene. And it shows just, whoopsies, I shot them. Oh well. Like, what the fuck was that? A complete waste of a big scene. Bella Ramsey is given a terribly written character. She's doing her best, but she's just a scapegoat for the awful writing that she's been given. The structure of the season just completely baffles me. Episodes 4 and 5 were just so rushed, completely missing all substance from the game. The game is full of so much action, and they removed it all. It feels like they just put a series of dot points of important scenes and just kind of wrote around that. They avoided all action possible, and even to make it exciting or interesting, they decided to make it as underwhelming as possible. The first season felt like a highlight reel of the game, and this season just feels like full of low points. So many points in this season just are underwhelming from what they could have been. The hospital scene, which I mentioned earlier, is like 5 minutes instead of the long and intense scene from the game. Ellie just shows up, runs for a couple seconds, kills Nora, and that's it, the end of the episode. Why are they rushing through anything? I can't feel anything if it doesn't last for more than 5 seconds. Just, they just yell at you and then that's it. The finale was also incredibly disappointing. Such a short episode, they decided to spend the first 20 minutes with just the characters talking, which would be fine if they didn't take up time for things to barely happen for the rest of the episode. Also, I talk about the rush aquarium scene, which done awfully in the show, but the scene where her traveling there in the boat might be the dumbest scene in the whole show. She finds a boat, drives it to the aquarium, it's not the right word, gets hit by a wave, so she washes up on shore, where she gets taken by the cult leaders, strung up, then they get scared away. She leaves on a boat which would magically wash up with her, and it's not damaged at all. This is such a waste of time, and is so fucking dumb. This rush feels completely pointless, just so they can have the big reveal next season that Abby was the one that scared them off. And it's not going to be shocking at all, because it's so obvious. The big cliffhanger of the season, what a waste of time. It could have been a good scene, but I'm just not feeling any impact. The gunshot sound effect was so dumb. Obviously, they're not going to kill Ellie. Not fooling anyone with that one. I don't know why that they did that. It wasn't in the game. He's trying to add more attention to an undeserved cliffhanger and a undeserved finale for a season that should have been way longer. This is not how you should make a season of television. It's only 7 episodes, it's completely rushed, doesn't have any substance or action to make it stick or feel worthwhile. Overall, very disappointing, if they adapted the game correctly, could have been an amazing season of television. Why'd they make it 7 episodes, rush mess, when we have to wait for 2 or 3 years just for some payoff? Overall, this season was a mess. Massive missed opportunity. If it wasn't for the flashback episode near the end, I would have barely anything to celebrate with the season. It was still well made, so I wouldn't say it was bad. It was just very mediocre, 5 out of 10. In conclusion, you should go watch the rehearsal instead. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Share your thoughts.